All right, so we'll start sitting upright, and again, you sit whichever is most comfortable. Legs extended forward onto the firm blocks, or you always have the option is just sitting right down onto your mat, depending on how the knees feel. I always like sitting a little taller, just sort of the first full practice. So having yourselves nicely settled. Just at the start of all the practices, it's lovely to fill and then empty. So I'll get everyone to lift your shoulders up, lifting up, allow yourself to be even taller. And then slide them down and close your eyes. The start of our practice, awareness, settling, perhaps still setting up. But as you sit tall, your eyelashes softly drape down. Bring your palms together at heart center and draw them into your heart and the soft bowing of your head, the start of our practice. To open up our hearts and focus our awareness that we know what we already know. And be who we already are. Softly place your palms down onto your thighs. And keeping your eyes closed, awareness of being just within. Keep your breath as a natural flow. Just notice where your breath travels. Not working on increasing the volume or exploring its travel, just your awareness. And the opportunity to grow. On your next in-breath, I want you to breathe just a little deeper. Not a gasp, just a little fuller. And then that slow, lovely exhale. Next in-breath, draw it a little deeper, exploring breathing into all four sides of your torso. And then the soft exhale. Awareness and opportunity. Your next breath in, draw a little deeper, allowing your belly to expand, your chest to broaden, your back to stay full. And a release. With your next in-breath, I want you to fill your body. Continue with your inhale, inhale, and then pause and sip in just a little more and hold it and feel your body absorb. And then the very gentle exhale. Continue with the flowing of your breath. Allow yourself to fill right to the top. And on your exhale, the complete empty. And it's lovely to do with an exhale. Allowing the rhythm of your breath, the filling of your body, the expansion within and in your breath, almost as if it pours out and empties right to the last drop. With your next in-breath, lift your shoulders up to your ears. Lifting of your shoulders up, up, up. And then lower them down, 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 allowing your neck to be a little longer. Take your hands so they slide to the ends of your knees. And then softly draw your chin towards your chest. Stay with your head softly bowed. Breathe into your body. And on your exhale, keep your chin down and slide your shoulders apart, almost like you're moving your heart back to your spine. And with your in-breath, filling your body and your chest lifting and floating. And then continue with your breath, the soft movement of your body, the traveling of your breath. And with each exhale, see if your chin is a little closer towards your chest. Your shoulder blades expand and the tightness in the back of the neck can just pour away. We'll all have one more breath. Continue with your pattern. We'll have one more filling. At the top of your breath, please releasing on your pattern. And then as you release, reach the end of your exhale, bring yourself back to sitting tall. Just roll your shoulders a few times once you're there. Get you to cross your legs the opposite. So actually first take your legs out to give them a little shape. And then cross opposite shin in front of the other. Or keeping them extended forward. Taking of your hands and drawing your buttocks back. Keep your posture forward. Get you to keep your fingers onto the mat. And I want you to place your right fingers onto your right shoulder. And then from here, lift your elbow up. I'm going to lean over towards the side. And so you can keep your fingers onto your shoulder. You can place them onto your head or extend them towards the side. Just find a place that's of most comfort on your shoulders. But placing of your left hand down firmly to bring yourselves even more extension through the right side of your body. And with your breath, when you draw your next breath in, bring yourselves back into sitting tall. And then as you're sitting tall, again, lift your shoulders up to your ears. Glide them back and descend down. And then taking out this time your left fingers and place them onto your shoulder. As before, the ascending of your elbow up to the sky. And then your right fingers tiptoeing out, eventually placing your palm down. Again, the options, you can keep your fingers onto your shoulder, your head, or extending, depending on how your shoulders feel. Just sort of very gently encourage your shoulder blades towards your spine to ensure there's no caving of your chest. The pattern of the breath. So I want you to have, with your rhythm, one more in-breath, of course, one more exhale. And then once you've released every last drop of your breath, bring yourselves back into sitting tall. And then shake your shoulders out. So sitting as you are, with one shin crossed in front of the other, If you are having your legs extended, see how it feels to be into Buddha Konasana. So taking the soles of your feet together, your knees apart. So see how that feels on your knees. If you're okay keeping your shins crossed, one in front of the other, and stay like this. So I want you to pivot over towards the right. So turning your torso towards your right thigh, and then place your fingers down onto your mat. You're just going to do a very gentle fold. So as you walk your fingers forward, drawing your torso towards your thigh. Now the importance of ensuring that your left sitting bones stays rooted down. And not lowering as far as you possibly can, just the opportunity of extending the side of your body. Keep onto your fingertips. I want you to walk forward towards the front of your mat and all the way over, this time towards your left. And again, allow gravity to draw you down, making sure, of course, your right sitting bone stays grounded. Maybe your palms down or staying onto your fingertips. And then we'll all walk hands forward towards the front of the mat, keeping your shins crossed, and softly fold directly forward. So if you're in Buddha Konasana, perhaps having your hands onto your ankles. And again, just drop your head. Even sometimes, tuck your chin a little closer towards your chest, and then consciously slide your shoulder blades apart. And allow a little bit more rounding of your lower back. And then walk your hands back to center. So as you're sitting tall, I want you to extend your arms forward. You're keeping them shoulder distance apart. Your thumbs pointing up. So as you draw your next inhale, I want you to tilt forward, almost like you're going to pick up a bowl. And then draw yourselves back so that you're vertical, and then tilt back a little farther, so opening up the core. Again, in-breath, tilt forward as far as you can, and then on your exhale, draw yourselves back. Again, the tilt. And then bring yourselves back to sitting tall, arms long. And I want you to lift your fingers up to the sky, so your arms to vertical. Allow yourself to be really tall, and then your fingers walk up, 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 up. And then turn your palms away, arms out to the side, all the way down. And again, roll your shoulders. So we're going to work on sitting to standing. So if your knees aren't as happy bent, you might want to be on either a stool or a chair, just working on the opening. I'm going to show you first. If you're going up from sitting, walk your feet a little closer together, not squished together, but a little bit closer together. And it's that same movement as we've done. Extending our arms forward, we'll be doing this, and then eventually tilting back. And then it's that momentum of taking your arms forward and bringing yourselves up to standing upright. Okay. So we'll all do that together. Okay. So roll your shoulders if you haven't already popped up. And then extend your arms forward. If you're into a chair, you can just have your feet a little bit farther apart. Okay. Let's all tilt arms forward. So you're reaching and then tilt back to giving yourselves the movement and the momentum to bring yourselves forward and all the way up. And roll your shoulders. Keep your feet crossed as they are, and we're going to sit down. So again, have your arms forward, so you take your sitting bones back and lower down. Eventually you can place your hand down onto the mat. Take your legs apart and give them a little shake. So just another If you have any other props with you, or even if not, make it a little bit easier. I'm just going to show you. Is taking your arms forward and tilt to place your fingers onto the floor to give you that support of lifting up. There's a couple of different opportunities or options, so figure out what works best for you. It's something to always work on that we often don't do very often. Okay, arms forward, reach them. Awareness of the extension of your body, and then we'll tilt back, and a little bit more movement, moving yourselves forward all the way up to standing upright. Arms up to the sky. Lower your arms down, a little shake, shake. Okay, we'll do it. I get everyone just to sit down, and I want you to cross your opposite shin in front of the other. And we'll do it 2 times, or sitting into your stool. Even if you're onto a chair or stool, explore doing it with your ankles crossed or apart, depending on how high you're up. Okay, arms forward and strong. Tilt forward. And then draw back. And then fly forward and up. And keeping your legs crossed as they are, keep yourselves folded forward this time. And then your hands down, bend your knees, and a soft drawing down and landing. Okay, one more time. More time with anything, the more times you do something, it gets a little easier. So if it doesn't seem any easier, that's your homework, to work on the standing and sitting, to work with momentum and strength. All right, arms forward. Extend a little farther, as if you can lengthen of your arms. And then draw yourselves back. And then fly forward and up. Keep your hands hanging down and uncross your legs. Okay. Bend your knees and place your forearms onto your knees. And then your head just to hang. So your legs, keep them softly bent. And shaking of your head, releasing what's not needed. And then draw yourselves back to standing upright. And stay standing as you are. I'm going to go into Tadasana, mountain pose. So ensure that your feet are now hip distance apart. Arms hang by your side. And turn your palms forward. Close your eyes. So going from movement to stillness, but even in the stillness, the active energy through your muscles. And so the energy through ankles to allow the balance, and all of the muscles through your feet. And the lifting of your thighs. They're growing on the inside to allow your torso to be a little longer. And holding the strength in, allow your shoulders to slide down and your neck long. Your breath in. I want you to draw the fullness of your breath in, fuller than we have already this class. Breathing in, right to the top, breathing into every cell of your body, and a complete sigh upon your exhale. Do it again. Filling, opening, expanding. And a sigh on your exhale. And get you to open your eyes. I'm going to take some lunges. So if you have your firm blocks, have them at the front of the mat. It gives you the option of using them throughout our lunges. And then stay standing at the front of the mat, arms hanging by your side. So as we've done before with the lifting, on your in-breath, extend your arms forward and lift them right up to the sky. And then take your gaze up to the sky, a little bit more lengthening through the front of your body. And on the exhale, I want you to fly forward and down. Your hands placed on your legs, whichever height. And I want you to do 3 in-breaths and out-breaths, the pattern of your breath. And again, the rhythm. And then once you've completely released your breath, allow your hands to just hang down towards the mat and just sway them side to side, a little bit of circles, giving yourself space through the back of your shoulders. Place your hands now down onto either your firm blocks, if you have them, choose to, or on towards the mat. I want you to step your right foot back for a long lunge, right to the back of the mat. And then lower your knee down. So from here, untuck your back toes, just a little less weight, and just checking to make sure that your front shin is vertical. Keep your torso again resting onto your thigh and your head to hang. And then explore if you perhaps can tiptoe your front foot a little farther forward, and your torso is attached to your thigh to draw your body forward, giving a little bit more length through your hip flexor. But then again, your head to hang. Just allow this initial extension, stretching through the front of the legs, but with no effort, completely passive. So it's exploring. Perhaps your toes a little farther forward, more length to your hip flexor, or a little farther back. Just find a sweet spot that gives you the opening but without feeling the strain. And just making sure that your back big toe, is pressing down to ensure that your heel hasn't rolled out to the side. Big complete breath in. And then a complete exhale, breathing into your body. Bring yourselves up now so your torso is away from your thigh. And the simplicity of just straightening your front leg. And so as your front leg is straight, perhaps you can take your front heel a little farther forward. But even though you're directing your heel farther forward, the top of your thigh bone stays plugged into your hip socket. So there's that neutralness. Whatever height of the support, and allow your head to be heavy. So as in this pose, you're extending your sitting bones, your buttocks back. I want your shoulder blades also to be drawn back. And so as you draw your shoulder blades back towards the back of your hips, see if you can lengthen your torso a little longer. Allowing the extension and lengthening through your legs and the opportunity through your body. Nice and long. Keep your front leg long, and I want you to take your hands over towards the left. So you're crossing your hands over, give yourselves a little bit of a twist. And you can be onto your fingers, your knuckles, your palms, maybe even taking your firm blocks. And then we're going to go the opposite. So keep your front leg extended and straight. Walk your hands back to center. And then this time over towards the right. Sort of an untwisting, but still keeping the length. So this is an easier opportunity to draw the top of your left thigh bone back. And then your fingers, hands, blocks, stroll back to center. And I want you to take your front foot and draw it back to take yourselves into child's pose. Toes together, knees apart, using the firm block for support of your head, fists, and right down to your mat. And just notice how the left side of your leg compares to the right, as well as your right hip flexor towards your left, even though they're quite passive. Move yourselves forward and up into table pose. And as you're into table pose, sway your hips side to side. Just take your knees back so that they're hip distance and sway your buttocks side to side. Come to center, and I'm going to get you to step your right foot forward to take yourselves right back into that lunge. Again, you can have the firm blocks, front toes tiptoeing forward, okay, and allow that extension. So again, that passiveness. So the easing through your upper body allows more easing through your hip flexor forward. Keeping your back big toenail glued down, head to hang. Imagine you have a little iron and you're ironing in the morning, giving that lovely smoothing out. That a sense of reaching, more settling and extension. Walk your fingers back now so you can straighten your front leg, taking your toes off the mat directly onto the center of your front heel. And again, the movement. Your hips are drawn back as the crown of your head is forward. Your tail back, even down towards your mat. And your front heel forward. Even drawing your toes a little bit more towards your front shin. Get that extension and lengthening. And see with your breath, or maybe more so onto your sigh, to release a little bit of tightness that we're not even aware we have it until we do one of these poses. Or maybe first thing in the morning you feel the tightness. Whichever way, releasing of the tightness. And then with your hands on your blocks or onto the mat, walk them over towards the side. So crossing over your right. Ensuring your hips stay square and the turning is from your hips towards your lower torso, giving a turning there. And then we'll go for a little stroll. Hands back towards the front of the mat. And then continuing, this time, over towards the left. So giving a little bit more of an opening. And just see if it feels a little different. Each time, of course, we're staying the back of the hamstrings. But just a little different turning of the torso can open a different little part. And then walk your hands back to center. Take yourselves back. So take your front foot back to take yourselves again back into table pose. And again, sway your hips side to side. Actually, it's nice to do a little bit of a body dance. So not only are you slipping of your hips side to side, your body traveling forward and back, but ever bending at the elbows. And just give that complete movement through your whole body. And then bring yourselves back to stillness, into table pose. You need to take your fingers a little farther apart. So take your little fingers to the outer edge of your mat and have that equal space as if your fingers are webs. And tuck your toes under. Sitting bones back towards your heels. Before you even pick up, draw your shoulder blades back and allow the crown of your head to move forward. So it's actually physically shoulder blades back, head forward. So even your shoulder blades a little bit farther apart. Now keep this position from the crown of your head all the way back to your lower shoulder blades. Take your knees off the mat and up into downward facing dog. And go for a little bit of a walk. So often in downward facing dog, as we're directing the heels towards the mat, there's a little bit of shortening of your neck and your earlobes sort of towards your shoulders and your upper arms. So allow your body to be long. So the crown of your head down, your shoulder blades back. A little combination of bending and straightening of the legs, going for a little bit of a walk. Arms are strong. Legs are long. And then as you're ready, I'll get you to stroll forward towards the front of your mat. Slow movement. As you know, as you're folded forward at the front of the mat, hold on to your opposite elbow and enjoy the weight of your head, weight of your arms, and the lovely swaying. Place your hands now onto your hips and keep the softness of your knees. Your spine long. I want you to hinge to standing upright, allowing the front and the back of your body to be of equal length. And then once you're into standing upright, lift your arms out to the side and all the way up to the sky. Keep your arms vertical. Your left hand hold onto your right wrist. Now in doing so, your hip out to the right and your arms to the left. Give yourselves a lovely side lean. And whichever variation you choose to do with this one, allow a little bit more growing and lightening from the top of your hips to your lower floating ribs. And then travel back up into center, both sides of your body, equally long and vertical. And then the changing of sides. So this time, right hand holds onto your left wrist. Keep your body long. And as your hips towards the out, your hands towards the right, and giving yourselves that lovely lengthening. And let's grow back up into vertical. And just gently lower your arms down. And give your hands a little shake, shake. Give your arms a little shake, shake. So ensure that your feet are hip distance apart. And just very softly bend your knees. And then almost a little bit of buoyancy, sort of the muscles. With your next in-breath, straighten your legs and reach your arms up to the sky. And exhale, hinge yourselves forward and down. Your hands landing wherever they do onto your legs. Lovely half lift on the in-breath. And complete exhale. Step your right foot back, but this time for a high lunge. So traveling all the way back to the back of the mat. Now I'm going to give you two options. You can keep your back leg up and horizontal or lower your knee down. We're just going to be doing a little bit of a balancing. Actually, let's all start with the knee down, but keep your back toes tucked under. So place your hands onto your knee. to press yourselves into upright. Now, from here, place your left forearm onto your left thigh and lift your right arm up to vertical. We're going to do a side lean. So drawing your hands across. So your leg that's back, allow it lengthening through the body. Now here's the full balance. You can keep your knee down or lift it up. So as you're extending onto the right side of your torso, your hips are neutral. If your left knee is up, lower it down. Take your right hand out towards the right. So now we're going to do a little bit of a twist. So as you have your right hand down onto the firm blocks, on towards the mat, place your left hand onto your thigh. And we're going to give a twisty turn. So now you're twisting and turning over towards the left. Again, you keep your back knee down or lift it up. Just allow from opening to closing. Bring yourself now back to center. Lower your back knee down. And again, as before, just straighten your front leg. So just where we've been before. And maybe this time your front heel can be a little farther forward. With this one, with your front leg forward, I want you to take your little toe down towards the mat. So you're giving a little external rotation. And then I want you to cross it all the way over. So now your big toe is towards the mat. So just as we had done with the lifting and the turning when we were into the lunge, and let's do it again. So take your little toe towards the mat, the opening, and then all the way across. So now the closing. One more. Externally rotating, little toe towards the mat. Keep your front leg strong, long, and then the closing. All the way over. Your little toe is not going to, of course, reach the mat, but just awareness of the internal rotation. And then bring yourselves back up to center. So bend your front knee and tuck your back toes under and step yourselves forward to the front of the mat. And then as you're folded forward at the front of the mat, go for a little bit of a walk, just as we do in downward dog. So bending one knee, keeping the other straight, bending, straightness. And then bring yourselves back to stillness. And I want you to step your right foot back. No, I changed my mind. Step your left foot back. I'm like, it doesn't quite make sense. Okay, there you go. So your left foot is back, the front shin is vertical, and then place your hands onto your front thigh to bring yourselves up. With this one, take your front thigh, place your front forearm onto. Yeah. And then lifting of your left arm, we're going to give a side lean. Okay. So your front knee forward, forearm. With that lovely side lean, you can tuck your back toes under and lift it up or keep them down. This is the opportunity of balance, neutralizing, and extending the side of the body. And then we'll change. So put your knee down if it's up. So you can nicely plant your left hand down, right hand into your thigh, and turn towards the wall. Okay, so your hand is onto your knee for the support, perhaps lifting of your back leg up. My sense is almost like your left ribs scoop under. If your knee is up, lower it down. Place both of your hands down, untuck your back toe, and then straighten your front leg. Peeling the sole of your foot up, And see if you can have the center of your heel down. Okay, so as your extended front leg is long, take your little toe down towards the mat and just notice the movement through your outer hip. Foot back up to center, toes to the sky, and then the internal rotation. And then with your breath, your rhythm, the opening and closing. So the slowness of the movement, opposed to any tightness, jerking, just the smoothing, the polishing up of the tightness of the back of the leg and the joint. And the next time it's been an internal rotation, bring yourselves, your toes back up to the sky. And then take your, let's go into child's pose. Just take your front foot back, toes together, knees apart, and settling back down into child's pose, whichever variation, but I want your arms forward. So you can have a block or your head down or floating, whichever feels right. Your arms are forward. Go up onto your fingertips. So your arms are activated straight and walk over towards the left. So as you're traveling towards the left, keep that same connection of your right sitting bone towards your right heel. So sort of opposed to all the way over, almost like it would be a 90 degree, want it more like a 45 degrees, so more towards the front side of your mat. And then we'll change sides. So walk your hands back to center, keeping both of your sitting bones towards your heels. They might not reach, but keeping your hip neutral, walk your hands over towards the right. Just ensuring your hips stay neutral. Hands now back to center onto your mat. We're going to go back up into downward facing dog. So nicely flare your fingers apart. Shift yourselves forward just to assist the taking your knees back to hip distance apart. Toes tucked under, sitting bones back towards your heel. Your body is long, your head towards the mat, and slowly lifting of your hips up into a downward facing dog. Again, going for a little bit of a walk. Keeping the stillness through your arms, through your shoulders, even through your torso, and just the movement of the bending of the knees, the lifting and lowering of the hips. Bring yourselves back to stillness. See if you can slightly roll your shoulder blades apart. Keeping that space, I want you to take a step forward with your feet and a step back with your hands. Traveling all the way so that you're folded forward, but you'll be in the center of your mat. And then as you're folded forward, take your lovely peace fingers and hold on to your big toes. Whichever variation, whichever way. Your elbows out to the side so there's space. Your knees softly bent as need be. Head hang, give it a little shake, shake. So release your fingers. Again, to place your hands onto your hips. The importance of the hinging. Knees soft. Take your shoulder blades back and the slowly lifting and ascending of your body. Up to standing tall. And then as you're standing tall, take your feet together so the inner edges of your feet are together and your arms by your side. Take yourselves back into Tadasana. So see if you can close your eyes. The weight forward, back. Stability and support through your ankles. A little bit easier keeping the lifting and length and verticalness from your knees up. The soft shifting through your ankles and some movement through the body. I'll get you to slowly open up your eyes and turn to face the side of the mat. I'm going to open legs into a V for warrior two. So take your feet apart for, I'm going to say a little bit wider V with your hands onto your hips. So keep your hands on the hips. And I want you to take the foot at the back of your mat and pivot it for a warrior two. And then as you plant your foot down, bend your knee. And then straightening of your leg, turn your toes back towards the side of the mat. And we'll just go on the other side. So the foot at the front of the mat, pivot it. Plant your foot down and bend your knee. See if you can drive it directly towards your second toe. Straighten of your leg. Turn your toes towards the side of the mat. And we'll change sides. Back foot or towards the back of the mat, lift and pivot. Bend and descend. And then straighten, lengthen, turning of the feet to the side. And then changing. Pivoting of your foot towards the front of the mat, settling of your foot down, the bending of the knee, and giving that lovely space. Straighten of your leg again, toes towards the side of the mat, changing, foot to the back of the mat, planting down, bending of your knee, and then here just a little bit of buoyancy, just so you can find that spot with the alignment, and then settle in and extend your arms out to the side for warrior two. And turn your palms up, your shoulders descend. Keep your arms horizontal and strong. Turn your palms down and take your gaze just past your fingers. Eyes closed or just a soft gaze. So holding about a warrior two, strength, alignment, and breath. So as we are, I want you to have a full breath in and a sigh on your exhale. And perhaps settle a little deeper down. And keep your arms horizontal, but straighten your back leg. And as we've done before, turn your toes towards the side of the mat, because we're just going to change sides. Take your gaze now towards the front of the mat, just past your fingers. Pivot your foot to the front of the mat. Bend it a few times, a little bit of movement to find that alignment, and then settle into stillness. So ensuring your front knee is centered and not dropped in. Turn your palms up, give you space. Keep that space and turn your palms back down. Close your eyes. Allow the softness through your neck, verticalness of your torso, strength through your hips, and planting of your feet. Straighten your front leg. Turn your toes to the side of the mat and drop your arms down. And just give a little shake, shake. So I get you to now take your feet a little closer together, still into the V, and keep your toes pointing towards the front and back corner. And place your hands onto your hips. Okay. I want you to slowly bend your knees to slide down, but I want you to keep the front and the back of your spine vertical. And then bring yourselves up. So I want you to look down towards your knees. Often as we're lowering down, the knees collapse in. Okay. So almost like actually, place your hands on your inner thighs. Bend your knees to lower yourselves down, the back of your hands encouraging your knees to stay open. At the same time, take your shoulder blades together. Straighten out your legs up. And this time lifting of your arms right to the sky. Bring your palms together. As you bend your knees back down, bring your palms, thumbs towards heart center. Place your hands now onto your upper thighs. And I want you to press your thighs down to allow a little bit more lengthening. What's funny is as you press your thighs down, it allows more opening and less strain through your legs. And maybe lower yourselves a little farther down. Breathe. Straightening of your legs. Whoa. Lift your arms up to the sky. Now, with your arms vertical, turn your toes so they now point directly towards the side of the mat. With your arms straight and long, I want you to fly forward and down. And your hand towards the floor, or maybe if your firm blocks are nearby. Do a little bit of speed skating. Now you can take your feet a little farther apart. We had them closer together for the crunch. And then your head to hang. Again, that lovely speed skating, sliding side to side, allowing the opening through the inner and outer area of your thighs. Eventually bring yourselves back to center and stillness. Give your head a little shake. And then walk your feet together. So you'll be folded forward, facing to the side of your mat. And then once your feet are hip distance apart, take your hands onto your calves and as well as your shins and give them a little massage. Eventually having your hands back onto your ankles. And I want you to just take the shifting of your weight to your outer edges of your foot and the inner edge of your foot. And just notice the movement through the joints on your ankle. During our standing poses, this is where there's often the movement. And see if you can bring in a little bit more stillness and support. Now place your hands onto your hips and bring yourselves into standing upright. Give yourselves a little shake, shake. So you turn to face towards the front of the mat. We're going to go into tree pose. So if you need to have a wall nearby or a chair, have that with you. I'm just going to turn to face you guys. So take your arms again out towards the side. This is going to help with the balance. And go onto your left tippy toes. And pivot to open. So even looking down right now towards your right foot, and see how there's already that movement through your ankle. See if you can use the strength through your quads or your calves to get that balance, even spreading of your toes apart. And then slowly taking the sole of your foot towards your inner calf. Finding of a focal spot. Your bent left knee, turn it towards the front of the mat, and then lower your leg, your foot down. Lower your arms and give it a little shake, shake. We'll change sides. So look down and consciously spread all of your left toes apart. A little bit of movement of your ankle, just aware that the muscles and the alignment of our ligaments and joints. And then your arms back out to the side. On towards your right tippy toes. Pivot out to the side. And nicely plant your sole of your foot onto your ankle, or sorry, your calf. But feeling the movement of your ankle. And seeing if you can spread equal connection of all four sides of your foot. And holding onto that focal spot. And then turning of your knee towards the front of the mat, neutralizing of your hips to lower your leg down. And a little shake, shake again. Okay, we'll do it again. A couple of options. You can keep your toe on the mat, calf, or up into your inner thigh. If you go up into your inner thigh, use your hands so you can nicely plant it right in. Again, you have a wall or a chair nearby. Your call. Arms out. This is our airplane to give the balance. on towards your left tippy toes. Pivoted the knee open. And then planting it onto your calf. Again, finding that focal spot. You can stay just like this, or perhaps with the assistance of your hands, having it to your inner thigh. So I hadn't said this before, but you want to make sure your toes, if you lift it up all the way, your toes are above your knee or your heel is below your knee. Knees don't bend sideways, so keeping that neutralness. But your inner thigh or calf towards the sole of your foot, the sole of your foot towards your calf or thigh. And then turn your knee forward and lower it down. Drop your arms, give them a little shake, shake. Okay, other side. Toes apart, a little bit of movement, the awareness of that extension or rocking. Arms out to the side for the balance. Onto your right tippy toe. Opening to the side. Finding a focal spot and nicely planting sole of your foot onto your calf. You can also keep your toes on the ground or with the assistance of your hands lifting it up into a high tree pose. So it's that definite direct motion of the inner leg towards the sole of your foot. And with that movement forward and in, it'll bring a little bit more stillness through the ankle. Just a little tiny bit, but the awareness. And then turn your knee forward towards the front of the mat. Lower your leg down. Shake your arms out. And then let's all go down into child's pose. Completely passive. So hands softly down onto the mat. Toes together, knees apart. Having your hands forward or back towards your little toes. The lifting of the arms, it might be a little bit more release of having your fingers back towards your toes. That strength through the upper arm or deltoid, allowing them to just pour away. Full breath in. Breathe into the front, the back, the sides of your body. Allow the breath to be complete right to the top and a sigh on your exhale. And then bring yourselves back up and forward. So we're going to go into, with the hips, into deer or pigeon pose. So I'm going to get you to choose which side. Let's actually all go into deer pose. Have your firm blocks in front of you to use as need be. So as you know, if you have a blanket nearby and you go into deer pose, it can be actually nice to be under the hip on your front leg, just a little bit of support. And then of course folding forward. Might be nice. If your knee is happy to be bent a little bit more, take your front toes towards your back knee. So you've got that direct angle. And then extend your back leg back and literally rolling over. Okay. So the surface of your front foot is going to be the top of the surface, not the side. If you're into deer pose, you have the side. And then slowly lowering down. So whichever way, if you do deer or pigeon pose, the forearms can be supported with a firm block on its side or onto its lowest level. If you're in pigeon pose, the importance of having the length of your body running along the length of the mat and ensuring, so your bent knee, that hip is not towards the mat. You've got that space. Basically the space is one of the firm blocks. And either in deer or pigeon, whichever way gives that lovely opening combination mainly of your front hip, a little bit of more extension through your back hip flexor, head to hang. Bring you to pigeon pose. And again, comfort, giving yourselves that space. And I'll have, and I think, yes, we've all signed in. So you can take it back into just your name showing, or if not, me to see your smiling face. But again, settling in, head is heavy. As your head hangs, ensure the back of your neck isn't holding any tightness. So allow the crown of your head to be heavy, giving it almost a little bit of a shake. And any of that tightness that often reappears when we're not even aware of it, giving your head a little bit of a shake just to smooth out the tightness of the back, the neck. And the loveliness of a sigh, the ease of the stillness, and enjoying the opening. Ensure that there's no discomfort. As you guys know, if there's a discomfort, then come out of the pose, go to a different variation, or give your legs a little shake, and then travel back down into the lovely deer, boar, and pigeon pose. So, depending on how long you held it the first time, if you were there a little bit longer because I disappeared, you can stay so it's a balance of both sides. If it's been an open equaling of both sides, okay, to take your feet forward to sway your knees. But just make sure you have that balance, the equal opening. We need to have both of our hips and our hip flexors at the same length. Once you're there, knees just forward towards the front of the mat, and a little bit of swaying side to side. And it's nice, holding on to that softness and ease, and taking a pose of complete stillness. As you guys know, putting a little bit of juice back into the joints. And then I'm going to get you to lay down onto your back. Have your firm blocks by your side, and of course have your blanket nearby for Shavasana. And lie down onto your back and draw your knees into your chest. And the movement of your knees, forward, back, side to side. And then place your feet down. And I want you to have your firm block by your side. Okay. And we're going to take ourselves just into a very supportive bridge pose. So in bridge pose, having if your feet not towards your buttocks, a little farther forward, ensuring that the knees haven't flared open or knees haven't knocked in. So it's almost like your legs are almost like railroad tracks. Walk your shoulder blades a little closer together. Be into robot. And so your elbows are bent to 90-degree angle, back of your arms in your mat, and then lift your hips up. And as you lift your hips up, slide the firm block underneath your sacrum. So not on towards your buttocks, not on towards your lower back, giving that space. Keep your knees hip distance apart and allow your arms to just rest by your side. And enjoying the lengthening and hollowing of our lower torso. Now the importance of alignment, the back of your skull onto your mat, your eyes closed, allow them to sink. And as throughout the whole class, as throughout all of our days, breath. So invite a full, complete breath in, breathing right to your belly button, and a sigh on the exhale. Now in this pose, you can keep your knees bent exactly how they are, or take a little step forward with your feet. Now as your feet are moving forward, I want you to ensure that your belly isn't puffing up. So you're keeping that lovely lengthening of the lumbar part of your spine and perhaps taking your feet a little farther forward. Even almost allowing a little bit more of your belly button to your spine. And find that distance. Perhaps lowering your legs all the way down, extended, or softly bend. Just find that position. But giving enough of that ease and softness to your hip flexor and your torso. Arms hang. Breath continues. The freedom of space. If your legs are extended forward, I want you to walk them back. Walk them back to the point that your shins are vertical, making sure that the back surface of your shoulder blades are staying grounded. And then we're going to go into a pose called Viparini Karani. I want you to lift your feet up to the sky, taking them into vertical. Have your feet flexed. Your feet flexed just keeps a little bit more energy of your legs. And see if you can have your legs vertical. Often what happens is they're a little bit more towards your toes. Work on verticalness. And then just move your ankles, standing in the balance and the awareness, and putting that juice back in. And just the ease, the connection of the top of your thigh bones into your hip socket. Strength and stability of your hips. Your torso is long. And of course, your breath is full. Softly bend your knees to take your feet right back down onto your mat. As your feet are settled down, lift your hips up to take the firm block out to the side. And then keep your feet on the ground and lower your spine down. Take your knees together and your feet apart to the outer edge of the mat. And we'll do some windshield wiping. So take both of your knees over to the side, whichever side you want. And then back to center and to the other side. Just a soft little turning of the torso. As you know, the lovely swaying. And then when it feels right, allow your knees to the side to stay there. Now whichever variation that you choose. And then change sides. So back to center and over towards the opposite. And again, the subtle. And then back to center. And get ready for a Shavasana, but first let's all go into Happy Baby. And so of course drawing your knees in towards your chest. Your hands between your knees and then wrapping around to hold onto the outer edges of your calf, your ankle, or your feet. And the lovely rocking. And as you're ready, bring yourselves out. So we had done this. You want to put on any extra clothes if not already. If you remember from last week, Saturday or Tuesday, I can't remember, having your firm blocks underneath your calf, which can be quite nice. So in doing so, having your firm blocks, so the center of your calves rest on it, and then either placing your mat, socks, whatever you have nearby, to give a sense of space. Almost makes you feel like your feet are flying. And then slowly lowering down towards the mat. And any little adjustment with that connection. If it feels better, just having your legs right onto the mat, or maybe even a bolster underneath the back of your knees. And then just allow your body to melt back down. Soft moving of your toes. Ensuring that you have the ease across your shins and your thigh bones are soft. Connection at the back of your hips. The lovely length of your spine with the space underneath your lower back. Collarbones are broad. Neck is long. Eyes are closed. And your breath is full. Slowly drawing your breath in. Allow your breath to pour deep. And then release. The movements of your toes, the soft movements of your fingers. Keep of your breath full. And placing your feet onto your firm blocks or onto the mat. And just sway your knees side to side, just as we had before we went into Shavasana. Eventually rolling over to your right side. And your head resting onto your upper arm. And enjoying the space on the back of your body. And then pressing of your left hand down to bring yourselves into sitting upright. And sitting upright in a position of comfort, blanket, socks, whatever you have. And close your eyes, keeping yourselves in space. The lifting of shoulders, ensuring your body stays long. And then the soft descending of your shoulder blades down. Bringing of your palms together at heart center. And a slow bowing of your head, always bowing to the light within, the ease in the moment. And to open up your heart and focus our awareness that you can know what you already know, and to be who you already are. I wish you namaste.